You're listening to Popcorn and Politics. What's the real deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Asking the hard-hitting questions you want answers to. From political leaders and political hopefuls from around the world.
Good afternoon, and welcome to another episode of Popcorn and Popcorn. I'm your popcorn and popcorn. That's a new show. Listen, y'all know me. New show, Popcorn and Popcorn. No, I'm just kidding. Welcome to another episode of Popcorn and Politics. I'm your host, Audrey Bell Kearney, along with my co-host, Derek J. Wilson.
Hey, how you doing? I ain't talked to you in about a week.
I know it feels like that, right? I feel like this show was like and I said to myself, did we miss an episode? I feel like we missed an
Nah,
episode.
I just wasn't here last week. Yeah,
Maybe that's what it was.
the judge or the guy running for judge, Andre
Yeah. So
Johnson.
Andre was on. Like, listen, we got a lot going on. We're getting very close to the primary, which is what, May 2nd,
May 24th.
May 24th. Okay, I'm way off. May
Yes.
24th. Primaries are coming up, so we got
Early
everybody.
vote. Early vote starts May 2nd, I believe.
Okay, I knew I was in there somewhere. So there it is. But listen, we got a great guest for you today. He is so. I had to ask him. I was like, I looked at your bio. You have done an absolute lot. How old are you? And he started laughing. He said, I get that a lot. Because when I saw the bio, it was just a lot. I was like, wow, well, how old is he? So he gets that a lot. But we're gonna bring our guest on shortly, and that's Commissioner Demond Mason. But before we get on to that, I just gotta say this. So, there was a Trump rally earlier this week. I'm convinced, Derek. I'm convinced that some of them people are a little crazy. So now they are chanting, lock him up, lock him up. So they're talking about Kemp, just in case y'all want to know who him is. Him is Kemp. And they're saying lock him up because Trump said, because of him, he lost the election. Not because people didn't like him, because of Kemp. Not because people voted for him, but because of Kemp, he lost the election. Now, despite all of the investigations that have gone on into that election that came back that there is no fraud, they are still saying that there was fraud and it was all Kemp's fault. So I thought that was pretty interesting that they was like chanting, lock him up, lock him. And I'm like, wow. And what was crazy, Derek, they said before the election, Kemp and Purdue was allies. Now Purdue is throwing up the thumbs like lock him up, get him out, get him going. So
Well, in politics, I don't know the saying, but one moment they're your friends, the next moment they're your enemies. And then you look up y'all friends again. Look at Ted Cruz. I mean,
yeah.
that man talking about his wife, his daddy, and now he's a number one Trump supporter. So that's that goes to show you. Also, at that same rally, if I'm not mistaken, your favorite guy that you love to talk about, what's his name?
Herschel
Hank
Walker.
Herschel Walker. Yeah, he don't want us to have CTR here in the state of Georgia.
Why not?
CTR.
I know what it is, but why he don't want us
No,
to
no,
have
no, no,
not
no,
part
no,
of
no,
the
no, no,
history?
no, no. You're missing it. He said CTR.
Oh God. Yeah, I
It's
missed
not.
it.
Yeah.
We don't have CTR, by the way, and they need to let them know that we're not fighting for CTR. That's not what we're fighting for, folks. We're not fighting for CTR. So we totally agree with Herschel with the CTR.
Yeah,
We agree.
yeah, CTR. We don't want that here in Georgia. To be honest, we're not. I mean, CRT is not being taught in schools either. So, just for the record, that's not being taught. But he's so politically correct that he got it wrong. CTR, and everybody just cheering around. But that's enough of that. Speaking of other news in Georgia, there was several bills passed this week. Effectively, the governor, if he hasn't signed, he will sign the bill that will make it constitutional carry. Anybody uh, g- can get a gun. No permit is required. I believe they will do a background check. I don't know the details of that, but I do know that they're putting more guns out in the communities. So uh, that was a bill that was passed on the low side. On the high side, Georgia passed a bill that will see mental illness as a physical illness. So, you you have a heart attack is just important as you having a mental breakdown as far as health insurance and the state code. So it's one step of getting Georgia, which is one of the worst states in the country when it come down to mental health. It's getting them a step closer, becoming a better state when it come down to dealing with people with mental health. So those are the highs and lows of some of the bills that made it through session this week.
Well, okay, so we are one of the worst states when it comes to mental health, but you just passed a bill that says you don't need a permission to get a gun. You just go get your, if you could pass the background check. And so if your mama go and pass the background check and get a gun, you can carry that gun because you don't need a license. So
Right now,
anybody
no
go,
license,
you don't need a
no
license, you don't
license
need
is
a permit, you
required.
just go get the gun. So mama gonna get you the
Right.
gun. Let me just say this real quick. And this is what happened. I'm standing in the gun line, not last year, year before last. My husband and I, we standing in the gun line, buying our gun like everybody else, because everybody was buying a gun back then, because everybody was afraid. So a little lady, she was standing in front of me. She was about 70 years old. Somebody buying a gun for me and my daughter. I said, well, how old your daughter? She 18, 18 years old. And I said, oh, okay, right? So little Susie didn't have to go and buy the gun. Mama bought the gun for her. Now little Susie don't even need a license to carry the gun because mama gonna give it a gun. So she didn't have to do a background check. So whether or not they're allowed to they do a background check or not, it's pretty much irrelevant if mama can buy the gun and pass the background check. Because now Susie don't need you know what I'm saying? Like that's but you
Yeah.
but okay. I don't want to
So
go
the
too much.
argument is supposed to be because in particular in Metro Atlanta, gun violence has been on the rise, and so I guess the argument is, give more guns to the good people, so they can combat the bad people. I mean, I think it's crazy, but
It's nuts.
uh, that was one of those bills to for Kemp to his base, to help rally his base. You know, I don't think it'll work, but Kemp is basically out here buying votes for this governor's race. I mean, he's fighting on two fronts. He got Purdue on one front, and then he got Stacey Abrams coming over on the other side. And so, um, but I think Stacey got it pretty made. All she got to do is let them tear each other up, and then you know she
Yeah.
just come on in
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and brush the dust off the porch and keep it moving.
You know what's crazy about that? Somebody said Button Gwinnett died in a duel. I did not know that because he loved his gun too. Here's the thing about the whole gun thing. We're gonna get off that and bring our guest in. One of the things about that is that yeah, he may be catering to his base, but he's making it equal for everybody to carry a gun. Everybody. Some of everybody should have a gun. I'm gonna say that. Some folks just shouldn't
Yeah.
have a gun. So because they're dangerous. They're dangerous just walking down the street looking at you. So you gonna put a gun in their hands? I'm just saying. I
Well,
seen
we done had people get shot over bowling ball just recently here in
just
Gwinnett
recently.
County. Yeah, I mean just
Just
recently
recently.
somebody in Gwinnett County got shot over basketball
Yeah, just recently
at,
there was a
at
basketball
LA
young lady that got killed a couple of weeks ago at the bowling alley. She was leaving the
right.
bowling alley, and the boy she said something about a ball, and he killed her.
Yeah.
Oh well,
Yeah.
all right. Let's get listen.
On a brighter note, we got Commissioner Demond
Thank you.
Mason here out of Newton County. I want to make sure that we make the correction because I know the post on Instagram said Covington County, which doesn't exist, but is Newton County. And Covington, I want to say, is the seat holder for Newton County, if I'm not mistaken. He'll correct me if I'm wrong. But a great guy, District 2 commissioner. He's running for re-election, and he's a native of Tulsa, Oklahoma. I met him on the side of the street picking up some trash. Uh, and, I say that because your elected official was on the side of the street picking up trash. I'm like, hey man, you need some help? No, but good guy. He's very humble, down to earth, and I'm so excited that I met him. And like I said, I met him literally at a cleanup event, and you don't see too many of us and too many of elected officials doing what he does. So I'm looking forward to speaking with him.
So without further ado, we would like to welcome Commissioner Demond Mason to the show. Welcome.
Welcome. Hey,
Hey everybody, thank you.
hey, man,
You're welcome. You're
we gotta
welcome.
get a clap background or something
I
like
know, right?
woo,
Somewhere I
woo.
can.
I'll do it for
Somewhere.
you. Yeah.
So thank you so much for being here. I was just talking about you earlier because I was reading your bio and I was like, well, how old is he? And he was. I'm not going to share his age, but I'm just saying. I was like, wow, he's done a lot in a short amount of time because I'm thinking he's like 27 years old. I was a little bit wrong, but he has done some amazing things in his community. And so we want to, and you are an elected official right now running for reelection. So um, why do you want to do that? Because I know you have a 1 year old and a family. Why are you running again? Like why do you want to run again? Because I feel like we talked to a lot of politicians on here, and balance is one of the things that they have to do. So why again?
Well, that's a bigger question. And before I answer your question, I want to thank Miss Audrey, thank Derek for inviting me to Popcorn and Politics. I think this is an amazing, amazing platform. And some of the things that you talk about, the subject matters, are what our community and people need to hear and need to discuss. And so I'm just honored that you thought of me and decided to bring me on to have this conversation and discussion. So I want to say thank you. To answer your question, it started back when I first bought my home in Newton County, Georgia, back in 2014. When I bought my home, I told my real estate broker, well, now that I'm a homeowner, I want to be actively involved in the community. Just don't want to be a homeowner and do nothing. So he suggested that I attend the local political party meetings. And so I started going, started networking, meeting with people. This wasn't my first leadership role. I've always been in leadership roles for a long time, but I would say the majority of my adult life. But this was new coming into the political arena. I had always kind of had a desire to be engaged and be involved, but this was my first opportunity. So started networking, meeting people. They put me on a standing committee to be able to make decisions for my district and the party. Then they asked me to be the parliamentarian for the executive committee. Fast forward to 2018, the week of qualifying, the day before the last day. So the last day was on a Friday. I got a call on a Thursday saying, "Hey, did you hear that our previous commissioner is retiring?" And I said, "No." Well, he is. He just announced it, and we want you to be our next county commissioner. And I said, "Who, me?" And they said, "Yes, you." I said, "But I don't know anything about, the political arena. I'm still just learning." They said, "Don't worry about that. You have a heart and a passion for the people. You'll learn how to be a county commissioner later because there's training." And I said, "But I have to have all of my qualifying fees by tomorrow at 12 noon." Said, "Don't worry about that either. We got that covered. Just be there tomorrow by 12 noon. Your fees are covered. Everything is covered. We just want you to run." And I said, "Okay." So I talked to my treasurer and she thought it was a great idea. She said, "Go home and talk to your wife and pray about it. And I would love for you to come back tomorrow and, run." So came home, talked to my wife. She said, "If this is what you want to do, I support you." And then when I prayed about it, I said, "God, I don't know anything about politics. All I know is kingdom. All I know is ministry. All I know is the church." He said, "I'm taking you to the next level of ministry where you'll be able to influence individuals that you wouldn't have been able to influence as an average citizen." I said, "God, so you mean to tell me this is still ministry?" He said, "Yes, this is still ministry." So, with that being said, this is an assignment. This is not just something that I aspired to do or that I just created myself. It is a God assignment. So that's why I'm running again for reelection because my assignment is not over yet.
My
All right.
assignment is that sound like a book. My
It
assignment is
is.
not. It sounds like when my son. I have
All
this
right.
gift
I'm gonna write it
of
down.
hearing these things. Yeah, write that down. That's my
Or
gift,
or a
Armand.
sermon topic. He about to preach. I was about to say
I
amen.
know my assignment is
Well,
not over
mama
yet. Not
ordained, I'm an
yes.
ordained pastor as well, so it's just in me.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
one of the things I looked at when I was looking at your profile, one of the things that always stands out for me is economic development. And I know you've made some great economic development strides in the county. You want to talk a little bit about what those are, because I want to talk about home ownership and I want to talk about small businesses, but you want to talk about some of the things that you have accomplished since you've been as commissioner for Newton County.
Absolutely, I would love to. Economic development has become a huge passion of mine. I work very, very closely with our economic and workforce development here in Newton County. I am also the vice chair of the Community Economic and Workforce Development Steering Committee for the National Association of Counties. So not only am I uh, working on economic development here in Newton County, but I also meet every single month with county commissioners all across the United States. And we talk about innovative ideas and creative ways on how we can elevate our community, how we can expand our workforce by bringing in industry, more retail, more commercial, more industrial, that's going to provide more jobs and that's going to help generate revenue for the community and bring take on the higher tax base where we can begin to eventually uh, provide a level of relief to our property tax owners by driving those property taxes down, bringing in that industry. So some of the things that I've personally done is we actually have the very first splash pad and only splash pad in the county at
Wow.
Denny Dobbs Park. So I was excited to kind of help. It wasn't my original idea, but I was there when we broke ground back in December of 2018. Was just recently hadn't been sworn in just yet, but was there to break the ground. And then in January 2019, really kind of help foster and make sure that it was completed. Also, I worked to bring the very first skate park and only skate park to Newton County. As a matter of fact, our board just voted to add another $750,000 where we can complete the second phase of that skate park. And so those are some of the major, when you say things that I've done. I'm also working with our water and sewer department to work on infrastructure. We're also, when it comes to roads, infrastructure, we're in the process of one of our main roads, Salem Road, being widened by Georgia Department of Transportation in 2023. I'm also always looking to bring in more businesses, like I said, so that we can find ways to help lower property taxes. Now, of course, we haven't quite gotten there, but we're definitely on the trajectory of getting to that point. So, those are some of the key things that I've done over the past 3 years when it comes to economic development.
When
Wow.
you when you when you identify partners that you want to bring their companies to your county, what are you looking for? What are you telling them? Because I find that a lot of times there are areas that could really benefit from a large corporation coming in and becoming a partner with the county, the chambers, and things like that. But what are you saying to them to say for them to say, okay, we want to come and look at your county or your district to say this could be a perfect place for our business, our company. And what kind of
But what I
pushback do
have
you get?
Well, what I've actually found out is that because Newton County is such a growing county I mean, it's growing so rapidly. What I'm finding out that people or businesses or companies are actually coming to us and they're
Mm.
actually seeking us out. And as they seek us out, our economic development team, what they do is they sit down and they have those conversations with them to really see if they're a great fit within our culture. We also want to make
Mm.
sure that these industries and these businesses and companies that are coming into Newton County, that they're willing to reinvest into the community, not just pay their property taxes, but are they willing to come in and provide additional monies to take on some of the parks and recreation projects that we have, take on some of the infrastructure that we are looking to develop within our community. So finding ways for these businesses that when they want to come to our community, how can they be not just a resident, but to be a partner as well, and really helping develop and taking our community to the next level.
I
Yeah.
love what you said about culture. A lot of times, as a small business owner, one of the things we look at is to make sure that the people that work with us fit into our culture, because you don't want, Debbie Downer on your team if that's not the culture of your company, right? So
Right.
I thought that was pretty interesting. You say like what, we need to make sure they fit with our culture. Talk a little about what that culture is for us.
Well, what I can tell you is that Newton County residents, we have an awesome, awesome community. Actually, in my district, we have because we're on the western side of the county, so we're a lot closer to Atlanta than the rest of the county. So we're about 45 minutes east. So we're right here. Where my district actually borders Henry County, my district borders Rockdale County, and very, very close to DeKalb County, which is where my district is. So what I have seen is that we have a variety of individuals that have high, medium incomes, that have high, medium education levels. And so we have a great mix of individuals, some that haven't quite uh, achieved their level of income that they desire, their level of education level as of yet. And then we have some that have. So we kind of have, I would say, a great spectrum, from the individuals that haven't quite made it, and then those who have, and those that are in the middle that are really on their way, striving to become what they desire. So we have a great mix of individuals. We're a very loving community, a caring community. You're going to always have those naysayers in every single community. You're going to have those that are um, not so positive uh,
Hmm.
at all times. You're going to always have those that uh, they want to be controlling, and they want you to do what they want and only what they want. So you're going to have those individuals. But I think for the most part, the majority of our community are very positive minded, very goal oriented, goal driven type of individuals. And so we have an awesome, awesome community. We love each other. We're neighborly. We do our best to try to work with each other, and try to bring positive light and positive things to our community.
Well,
Cool.
I love that you say that because just by me following you these past, I don't even think it's been a whole year, has it? I don't even think it's been
I
a.
think probably it has.
Yeah,
Maybe
it's been so
probably been about a
long.
year. Yeah.
Uh, and I see that you are not a commissioner that sits behind a desk and bark orders. You're out there in your community. Um, and so how did the pandemic make you shift or change your governing style? Did it make you more accessible, or did it pull you back? Like, how did that? Because I can list the things that I saw that you done, but I'd rather let you say what you guys had to do in order to assist during the pandemic.
Well, yes, it did shift. And of course, I was fairly new when the pandemic hit. I had just came in January 2019. So I took that first year to really learn how to be a great asset as a commissioner. So I was in a training class somewhere in the state of Georgia, like every single month. My wife would always say, "You're going again?" I'm like, "Yeah," because I really wanted to be a great commissioner. I didn't want to take this role lightly. And so I took that first year of really training. Well, then in 2020, I was like, okay, I've got my training out of the way. I'm now a certified county commissioner. I've completed 66 plus hours of training. I'm ready to get back out into the community. And then bam, COVID-19 hit. And so I said, okay, what do I do? Well, the first thing that I did was I created a series of online conversations. I created the legal series. I created community conversations, and I created economic exchanges, talking about economic development. And so, what I would do is I would bring on guests from all around the county, inside and outside, that I had begun to network with, connect with, and to really share those things with our community from a live online perspective. And it was, a Q&A session where those that logged in and watched, they were able to ask questions. And I would allow my guests to answer those questions right there on the spot. And then, of course, allow them to leave their contact details. So if they wanted to follow up with them for more questions. So that's kind of what I really got into. And then I created my homeowners association alliance. So what I started doing is every single month meeting with my homeowners association boards all across District 2. And I would bring in guests to really empower them so that they can empower their individual subdivisions, as well as created a network for them. So if one HOA had an issue and another HOA had previously dealt with that before, now they can have a network and conversation and say, well, hey, how did you deal with this? Well, these are the steps that we took to overcome that issue. So I created a networking base for all of my homeowners association subdivisions all across my district, as well as the online platforms that I utilize to inform the Newton County residents. So that's what I really engaged in during the pandemic.
It's so funny. I'm sitting here trying to remain professional, right? But Derek, you probably know I want to jump out of my skin right now. Like, what? Because we do popcorn and politics, and my company, Noise Media Network, that's the whole focus of what we do, streaming media and all that stuff. But it's to sit here and hear you say, I took the initiative to set up these series, not one. You said, did you do like
Yep.
three of them, three different, like not
Three.
one,
Yeah, three
three
series.
different, three different series, right? And
Yes.
people, I don't have time to do a podcast. I don't have time to do a video. You didn't do one, you did three. Because
Three.
you understand the power of these platforms. And I try to tell people that, you know, these are media platforms. Listen, if we have not learned anything else about the past administration, the big administration, is that we are in media all the time. So I kudos to you for leveraging these platforms to reach your
Thank you.
community. We've been in so many meetings where people say, well, we getting the word out. Well, you're not doing a great job because people still don't know about the things that you're
Right.
saying in front of us right now. You're
Right.
not doing a great job. You might want to do this. No, we don't need to do all that. Yeah, you do. So I want to just give you your kudos and your flowers right now for leveraging these platforms to make sure that you stay committed and connect to your community. I also want to tell you, man, we're gonna steal that economic exchange idea. I'm just telling you that
Yeah,
in
yeah, yeah.
public. We're gonna steal
I
that
like
now. So
that.
just like we're gonna
Economic
borrow it from you.
exchange. I
I
was
love
already
that.
taking note on that one. Matter
And
of
I'm like,
fact, I'm
oh,
gonna
that's a
call
good
you
one
when it
right
get
there.
off.
So listen, we're gonna borrow that. We're gonna give you all the credit. Listen, this
All the
came from
credit
Commissioner Demond Mason. We borrowed this from him. But
out of
I
Newton
Go
love
County.
right
that.
ahead.
Thank
Yeah.
you. Thank you.
Take
As
So
anything that I do, feel free to
yeah,
take it and run with it.
I
I
said
think
I was
that
gonna
was
reach
so
out to
cool.
you because I don't know if Audrey. I mean, you know my position, but Audrey is also a board member of the chamber as well. So
Wow.
and
Okay.
so I was sitting there thinking like, yeah, so well we're gonna have a meeting after later on because we're gonna have to figure out some of these ideas that he got going on. But also, you know, due to his humility, he didn't continue to go over his list of things that he put together during the pandemic. And correct me if I'm wrong. During the pandemic, you put together a group of local churches,
Yes.
to a group of local churches, and so explain what was that like? What's that for?
The objective was to really get our pastors heavily involved in the community and you look to be able to utilize them as a community resource. And so I created the Pastoral Community Alliance.
Yeah.
And so I'm in the process of starting to meet with them either once a month or once a quarter because they're very, very busy. And then, of course, being an ordained pastor myself, I see, for years, people would always say that church and state should be separate. But I really disagree with that. Now being in this role, now understanding that as a ordained pastor, now my assignment moving into the government realm, they work hand in hand. They are in partnership with each other. And so we do have some churches in District 2 that are heavily involved within the community. They do toy giveaways, they give food giveaways, they give away clothes, coats. They are actively involved. As a matter of fact, one of my churches has we call it a food pantry, but when you go there, it's almost like Walmart.
Mm.
I mean, when I tell you they have everything from clothes, shoes, uh, medicine, arts and crafts, uh, lawnmowers, microwaves,
Oh
and
wow.
they are actually giving these things out to the community for free. And so I wanted to ensure that I was able to capitalize on those churches and highlight them on what they are doing in the community. So not only bring them in as a partner so that we can do more things together, but highlight them and let people know because some people I don't think they know what they're doing in the community. And so that's how the Pastoral Community Alliance actually formed by really wanting to bring our churches and be able to highlight them.
All right. And
I
then you
want
put together the Young Leadership Alliance. Is that you as
Yes.
well? Like, I mean, Audrey, I don't want to go through the list, but like this, I mean, this guy has so many different, I mean,
that's why
as
I
you
asked
aware, Audrey.
that's why I asked him, well, how old are you? Because
Yeah.
I read the wisdom. How old are
Yeah.
you?
And so, as Audrey you know, a couple of weeks ago we had our chamber gala, and in
And
my
I wanted to be there. I'm so
well,
sorry I couldn't make
I
it.
totally
Next year,
understand.
this
Yeah, next
next
year,
year, come on.
next year,
Next year.
we ain't
That's
gonna hold it
right.
against you. You just gotta show up next year.
Okay, I
Um,
got you.
but one of the key points of my address was collaboration, building
Yes.
collaborative partnerships. And so I get excited when this young old me find the old school cat like now playing to find to find an elected official that's basically saying alliances and partnerships work, and then
Yeah.
he shows you how. And so now another list of one was the Young Leadership Alliance. Like, I mean, as one of the viewers say, how you are just a supporter of the church and the community, what and you have young children of your own. What pushed you or led you to create that alliance between the youth and your community?
I think having children of my own, which is why.
Yeah.
I have a 17-year-old, I have a 14-year-old, a 5-year-old, and a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
And I understand the importance of really investing in
Yeah.
our youth. And so I said, well, if I can do this at home, then maybe I need to take this outside of my home because you never know what children may not have the same opportunity to have a father like me in their lives.
All right.
And so I want to really invest in them and help them because they are our leaders of tomorrow. And so I started the Young Leadership Alliance in December of last year, and they're ages 14 to 40, and we meet once a month. As a matter of fact, we just met yesterday, and we sit down and we have those conversations about what's going on in their lives. What are some things that they're dealing with? How can I, as an elected official, help them navigate through any issues that they're having? And how can I speak into their lives to encourage them and to strengthen them and to undergird them and uplift them to be who they're called to be. And I want to even begin to bring in guest speakers to talk about the different subject matters that we have so that we can address their concerns. I want to even begin to expose them to government. I'm in the process of putting together a youth government so that those in high school between the 9th grade and 12th grade year, they get an opportunity to be exposed to what are we doing as local leaders. How are we positively impacting their lives, the decisions that we make, exposing them to what our sheriff's office does, and the deputies on the road, exposing them to what our fire safety does, exposing them to what our economic development team, what they do, exposing them to our planning, our zoning, exposing them to all the different areas throughout our county and the services that we provide to our community, exposing them to that so that they can really see that we're not just sitting behind a desk. We really are working to make this a great place to live, work, and play. And so that's why I created it, because I really want to invest in them so that they can start thinking about things from a different perspective, and another way of trying to get them to not engage in things that can be non or counterproductive. Let's
You know,
engage in some productive things and some community service, community work.
Love it.
One of the things I'm proud of about Gwinnett County is we have a program called Gwinnett County Gwinnett Citizen 101 Academy. And that initiative was started by a chairwoman when she was working in community outreach at the county. Now she's our chairwoman. But I went through that program and it was an amazing program. All of the things that you just spoke about was outlined, and we got to visit each department. And I talk about this a lot. I think I went through 2015 or 2000, I think it was 15 or 16. I talk about this program a lot because one of the things that I can honestly say changed my perspective on law enforcement was going through that academy. And the reason I say that is because we have a simulation room at the county, and I was able to go into the simulation room, which is about 10 feet tall. I'm only 5'3". So the room is about 10 feet tall, and I had a gun in my hand, and they was telling us, like, a lot of times people say things like, why didn't you shoot him in the leg? Well, you can't shoot somebody in the leg when they're coming for you. And honestly, when I pulled the trigger, I was shooting all over the place, missing the guy. By the time I got finished, I was dead. So I had a whole different, and then I got a chance to talk to some of the officers. And we know that not all of our officers are bad, but just to hear them say the words out of their mouths, this is why we do what we do. This is how we have to walk up on a car. This is why we have to do it. It was crazy. I was like, and I talk about it to this day a lot because that changed my perspective on so many things, especially law enforcement. So I know that the youth between 14 and 40, they're going to find that program invaluable, as I did with here in Gwinnett County. And thank you to our commissioner, chairwoman Nicole Up Hendrickson, who started that program before she became our chairwoman.
I'm gonna
And
have
she's
to.
a great chairwoman. You all have a amazing
Yeah,
chairwoman. We've had an opportunity to have conversations a couple times at some
yeah,
local county commissioner events, and I'm so thoroughly impressed with her leadership, with her professionalism,
yeah.
and she's just you all are very, very fortunate to have her.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
I'm gonna have to move to Newton County because I'm a youth all the way up to 40. I like that. I like that. I get a youth discount.
Yes, come on, we'll give you a discount.
He said
I
14 to
want to
40. I'm like, wait a minute.
I know you never hear that. You hear, like, I was talking
You
to
know,
someone recently about a program for young men. When I was in Jersey, we couldn't find I had a godson who was struggling. We could not find one program for a young man past the age of 18. He was 19, not one.
yeah,
Right,
And we were
right.
trying to, his mom and I were trying to figure out, well, we need to get him some help. There was not one program. When they got 18, you're on, after 18, you're on your own.
On
So
your
the
own.
fact that you have a program that goes from 14 to 40 is a great thing, because there are some young men out there who are still struggling at 25,
They
and
that's
they
are
yeah,
still need
and
help and guidance.
35,
35, right?
35.
So
You know,
that is
um,
what made you decide to go so far out to 40? How did you?
Well, because I know that we do have some of our millennials that still need some guidance, that still need someone to kind of walk them through steps to get
yeah,
where they desire to be. And like you said, that they are still struggling, even though they're out of high school. Some of them may even be out of college. But to really have a figure in place to say, hey, have you considered this? Have you tried that? Have you tried this? I know you may feel like things may not be working in your favor right now. I want to give you a level of encouragement. I want to give you a level of hope. And also, I believe that is part of my ministry as well, to really be able to speak into young men, speak into men, and help them reach their highest potential. And so I didn't want to just stop at high schoolers or younger men. Because I understand that there's a lot of us after high school and in college that are still struggling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the thing about our generation, I feel like, so for the record, I am a millennial. So the
We
thing
don't hold that
about,
against you though.
oh
Right.
well, oddly enough, I didn't know I was considered a millennial until I got into politics. You
Yeah.
know, because I remember Y2K. I'm thinking a millennial, somebody born 2000 and beyond. I grew up. I'm a '90s baby. I grew up in the '90s. I was born in the '80s, but I grew up in the
Yeah.
'90s. So when they said millennial, I was like, oh, okay. I'm thinking of my little siblings. But I can say that our generation, you know, is kind of like I guess the the bridge, or the bridge between, uh, I guess I don't know what my mom them generation. I guess
Gen
the
Xers.
second, yeah, Gen Xers, and then the Gen Z, because you know we remember some of the things that my kids have no idea. My kids don't probably know what a dial tone is. You
They
know,
don't. A
right?
telephone. They don't know what that is.
Yeah, they don't know, when we joke up, when we joking about how slow the computer is, and we like, this must be dial up or something, AOL. And so, but going through that, being in that middle, just, I guess, generation, I feel like it's a lot of, I don't know if we grew up too fast, but I feel like, you know, at 35, 36, we're, you know, I mean, we're still asking ourselves questions, what if, because a lot of things we do, the older generation just can't seem to understand why we do it. Like example, my mom and my family, they've been on the same job since 18 and retired and 55. And whereas, I'm 35 years old. Well, I'm lying. I'm 36 years old, and I probably done had 4 or 5 jobs in my, in my career. So, uh, and so I do appreciate a program that if I would have got in at 14, I know that at 28, 30, when we midlife crisis at 30, now we're going into 40. We still have that mentorship that most likely that relationship started at 14. So
That's right.
now if I don't have a pops, I have a pops.
That's right.
So I commend you on that, because
Thank you.
I mean that's amazing.
I'm
It
also a part of, I don't know if you all read, but I'm also a part of Newton Mentoring Inc.
no, okay.
Um,
What's that?
our late Judge Horace Johnson, who passed from COVID-19 back in 2020, um, had started a mentoring program. And so in 2019, I had talked to one of the other judges about starting a mentorship program here in Newton County because I didn't know of one. And so he reached out to me, he said, "Hey, Commissioner, I'm just calling you because I heard you want to start a mentoring program." And I said, "Yes, sir, I do." He said, "Well, don't."
Hmm,
I said, "Why not?" He said, "Well, I have one and I want you to be a part of it." I
hmm,
said, "Yes, sir." So he invited me to the Kiwanis Club. He was a part of the Kiwanis Club, and they were doing a presentation over Newton Mentoring Inc. And so I went, I sat there, had lunch with them, and I was so thoroughly impressed with the program that they already had in place, that they're already working with the schools. You know, the mentors come in, they do a 2 hour training, they do a background check. And then once they do that and the background checks come back clean, and they go through the training, now they are actually partnered with a mentee throughout the school system in Newton County.
hmm,
So when I saw that, I was like, wow, this is impressive. Well, we never got an opportunity to really sit down and talk about how I'm going to play a role in helping this organization go to the next level before he passed. So
oh,
once he passed, it was kind of challenging for me because he didn't tell me what to do. I didn't get any direction on how he wanted me to really play a role in his organization. So I remember him telling me to reach out to the program coordinator So one day I sat down, I said, okay, I'm going to reach out to the program coordinator, reached out to her, had a meeting with her. She said, well, we do have a position that's open on the board of directors. Would you be open to that? And I was like, sure. The board of directors, they voted me in to sit on the board of directors. And then I said, well, in addition to being on the board of directors to kind of help give guidance and direction to the organization, I'd love to be a mentor as well, because that's kind of one of my passions are. Went through the training, got my background check done, and she gave me one mentor. Then the next week she gave me another one. I mean mentee. Then the next week she gave me another one. The next I said, well, wait a minute, am I supposed
Wait
to
a
have
minute.
more than one mentee? She said, yes, we have some people that have 3 or 4. And I was like, oh, because you meet with them once a week.
Mm.
And so, of course, the 2 young men that I was originally assigned, they were troubled in school. One of them got kicked out of school after our very first session. The other one was actually at a second chance school, and he was on his way. He was doing a lot better on his way back into his regular high school. So to be able to meet with them and speak into their lives and invest in them has been great. It's been phenomenal.
Were they? Because I know I would have been. Were they ecstatic the fact that you were their mentor and like your position and you know black dude with power?
I don't think they initially quite understood the position that I was in. They were kind of slightly hesitant initially
Yeah.
because they're like, well, this guy's coming in, having this conversation with me, asking me about myself, and then he's telling me all about himself. You know, initially they're generally kind of reserved, but the more conversations you have, they begin to open up. And then, once they do realize the magnitude of what I do, they do
Yeah.
kind of like, oh, wow, Commissioner
Yeah.
Mason is my mentor.
Yeah. I'm about to say. I bet that's. I mean, I
It
would
takes
be
a while.
ecstatic. I'll be
Yes.
going home telling, hey man, hey, see that guy on TV? Yeah, I get one on one with him.
Yes.
Yeah, I know,
Yes.
right? On TV, that's true. I want
Yeah.
to ask you a quick question about I want to go back a little bit to economic development. There's a lot of price increases when it comes to commercial real estate right now, and there are a lot of business owners who would love to get into a commercial space, but it's just so expensive. Are you guys doing anything to help small businesses who want to go into a commercial space but just cannot afford to the rents that are being, because they're off the chain right now. The rents are just off the chain. Is there any programs that you're working on right now that to help them move into these spaces where they are able to go in there and get that foot traffic? Because a lot of times they don't. I did an event in 2019, no 2019 I think it was, or 2020. It was a small business Saturday. I'm work at home, so I know that a lot of times when they have small business Saturday, if you don't have a brick and mortar, nobody knows that you're out there in the community.
Right.
So I had a membership at the co-working space. I did the event, didn't think nothing about it. I did it the end of October for the end of November, and people called me like that morning, 6 o'clock, like, hey, I want to come. I'm like, I didn't have any space left. But there were so many home businesses who wanted to have that face-to-face contact with potential customers who just could not afford brick and mortar. So in Newton County, are there commercial real estate properties available, and what are the rents looking like? And is there any help for small businesses to move into those spots?
Well, I can tell you that would be an excellent question for our chamber.
Okay.
Our chamber president, that is basically what they are in the community to do. They support all of our small businesses. They provide them with programs and assistance to kind of help them stay afloat. A couple of things that I've personally done. One, all of the small business in my district, I highlight them via social media. And so in my District 2 Community Forum page, in my commissioner page, what I do is all small businesses across my district, I highlight them, whether they are uh, a home business, whether they are a brick and mortar, doesn't matter what they are. I highlight them so that people know that these are individuals or business owners or entrepreneurs in our district. These are the services that they offer. And so that when people need to know, Hey, well, I need my home pressure washed. Oh, I remember Commissioner Mason posted this post about this gentleman that's an amazing pressure washer here in District 2. Let me reach out to him. I need some things done around my house. Oh, Commissioner Mason posted this about this disabled veteran that has this business in District 2, and he does some of these things. He does plumbing, he does siding, he does fencing. Let me reach out to him. So that's one of the things that I do. I highlight them to drive business to them.
Yeah.
In addition to that, what I also am about to start doing, and I'm going to start it this year, is I'm going to start doing business of the month, where I'm going to begin to highlight the District 2 businesses all across the county or all across the district, and highlight them in addition to that, and make them business of the month, so that people can start seeing who they are and that they're out there and what they're doing. I can tell you one of the things that our economic development team has done, and I was very excited about it. I did a retail and community summit last year online. I brought in a retail coach. I brought in an economic development team. I brought in our chamber president. I brought in different individuals from the county, like our transportation director, our planning and zoning director. I brought all of them in so that we can kind of figure out how do we effectively bring in retail and an industry commercial into our community. Well, one of the things that our economic development team has done is they have started a Stop the Commute campaign. Because from that retail and community summit, one of the things we took away was shop local. If you shop
Mhm.
local, then you're going to see those dollars being continually generated here within the county. They stay within the county. Well, what we found out is that people were driving to Fulton County, Henry County, Gwinnett County, Rockdale County to go to work every single day. Well,
Mm.
over 34,000 individuals are commuting outside of Newton County every single day for jobs. Well, when they go to those other counties during lunchtime, they're spending their dollars in those counties versus here. Well, what we found out is that, like you talked about foot traffic, the way that a specific retailer decides that they want to come to our community is based off of the foot traffic, where we're losing our foot traffic to other counties. So now what we're doing is we're working with Georgia Piedmont Technical College. We're working with, them from a workforce development perspective to have those same jobs with the same benefits, the same high wages as they're traveling for right here in Newton County,
Mhm.
so that we can say, hey, you don't have to commute anymore. You can stay here. You can work here, and when you go to lunch, now those dollars are remaining within the county. So as we're doing that, we're now pushing more and more people to stay here in the county, work in the county, put their dollars, tax dollars back into the county, reinvest them. And so those are some of the things that we're doing. Shop local campaign, stop the commute campaign, business highlights once a month. Those are some of the things that we're doing to really help our small businesses. And I'm sure our chamber has programs as well to kind of help them from a financial perspective, or show them how to generate revenue or to stay afloat as well. We also utilize some of our American Rescue Act funds that we got uh, from our U.S. legislators to really reinvest back into our 501c3s, our small businesses, to kind of help them, because I know some of them were lost business over the pandemic because we
Mhm.
weren't face to face as much. People weren't coming in. So that was another thing that we utilized as well to really help our small businesses also.
So did you
Uh,
see an increase with more and more people working from home? Did that help
Yes,
the shop local in the
yes.
increase?
It did. As a matter of fact, because we saw such a huge amount of people beginning to work from home, we now are having to or invest more into broadband.
Yeah.
And
mhm.
so, in some of our rural parts of Newton County, it was hard for the students. because they didn't
Yeah.
really have, great access to internet. They were going to other places, like other businesses around the community that had Wi-Fi. A lot of people working from home. So we really had to look at broadband as expanding that. And so we've done that. We've put about $500,000 into broadband. We're also looking at getting some of the infrastructure bill monies that's going to be coming down from our federal government to actually help expand it even further. So we're always finding ways to expand that broadband because so many people are beginning to work from home.
Man, let me tell you something. Derek told me he want to move to Newton County for the 14 and 40. I'm moving there because of the whole economic development piece. And I'm kidding.
Yeah.
I love Gwinnett County, but
Yeah.
but if I had to go somewhere, it probably would be Newton County. I love what you're doing. The fact that you have taken the
Thank you.
time to shine the spotlight on small businesses, because I know that's a big deal. The CEO of Rockdale, Oz Nesbitt. When I first met
Yes.
Oz, he was going around the county. He wasn't a CEO yet, and I think he might have been campaigning, now that I think about it, in a very smart way. But he was going around the county. He created a show just to shine a spotlight on small businesses, and he just popped up in their location. He had a microphone, he had a camera guy, and he put him on the spot, and he shined his, and I was like, that is so amazing. Well,
That
fast forward
is.
to the day, he's a CEO. So,
That's right.
but
He is.
that was people realizing that he cares about my business. And here's my thing: if someone has a brick and mortar, yeah, that's one person, but how many people walk through that door? And when you say, hey, vote for me, they can vouch for you to their customers. So I thought that when I look back, that was very ingenious. So kudos
Yeah.
to you for that as well.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we can sit here and talk all day. It's so much that we didn't get a chance to go get into. But if they visit your website, they can see all the list of the amazing things that you have already done, as well as the things that you would like to either continue to do or new ideas. Could you provide them with your website so they can find you?
Absolutely. They can reach me at Demond Mason, the number 4, commissioner.com. That's Demond Mason, the number 4, commissioner.com. Of course, they can also go to my social media platforms. I'm on Instagram at the Demond Mason. I'm on Facebook at T Demond Mason Senior. I'm also on LinkedIn at T Demond Mason Senior. And so I want to do my best to be everywhere I possibly can, because I want to be one of those leaders that is accessible, reachable. Anytime my constituents or my residents reach out to me, they know I have uh, a standard that I reach back out to them within 24 to 48 hours. No longer than 48 hours. If I do, please follow me again. They know that. But normally I have a standard of 24 to 48 hours. So those are places where they can reach me. They can also call me at 470-322-5764, 470-322-5764. They can also go to the Newton County Board of Commissioners website. At the Newton County Board of Commissioners website, you can go into the Board of Commissioners. You can click on my name. It gives you my bio. It gives you my contact phone number, my contact email address. They can reach out to me, and I'll be more than happy to help them in any way possible. My campaign address is Demond Mason for Commissioner at gmail.com. So that's Demond Mason, the number 4, commissioner at gmail.com. They can also email me there if they have any questions about the campaign also.
Listen, he
Ooh,
gave
trying to
that.
keep up.
I know. I said to myself, we ask that question a lot. Nobody has ever given us that many. He said, I
Really?
do
I know
very
he
well.
see us over here. We all.
We got quiet trying to like, wait a minute. I gotta look. Listen, I want to thank you so much. I look
You're
forward to
welcome.
meeting you. The work that
Yes.
you're doing, man, I just know your community really is proud of what you're doing. Some of the programs and initiatives that you have mentioned are just amazing. And if I could vote for you, I definitely would. And I say that
I
publicly
know.
right here while we streaming around 130 countries. I say that proudly. You would definitely get my vote if I could. I live in Gwinnett.
Thank
I
you.
can't. So
I
don't
know.
start thinking this is some fraud.
Yeah,
I'm
I
just saying I
know.
could. If I
right.
could,
If we could,
you
if
If
know.
we
I
could.
can, I did want to mention 2 more that are pressing and that are dear to me. Derek talked about where he initially met me. I started the Clean Up Newton project for our district last year. And so every single month, I get out there with my safety vest, my gloves, my bag, and we pick up trash along the roadways every single month. We noticed that that was an issue. One of my residents brought it to my attention. I said, well, hey, I'll start the Clean Up Newton project. And we do that every single month. And we enjoy it. I love getting out there cleaning up because I feel like I'm doing my part. In addition to the Clean Up Newton project, I also started the Unsheltered or Homeless Job and Housing Initiative. And so,
Wow.
what I did with that program is I saw that our unsheltered population was growing. And so, I wanted to provide a solution to that. So, I sat down with our director of our homeless shelter, which is actually in the city of Covington, not in the unincorporated Newton County area, which is where I govern, but it was in the city of Covington. I brought her to the table. I brought our vice chair of economic development, or vice president of economic development with Georgia Piedmont Technical College, brought him in. Brought in our director of the housing authority, brought her in, and brought in our president of the chamber. And we all sat down at the table, and I casted my vision for our unsheltered population and said, I want to be able to take them, transport them to Georgia Piedmont Technical College, where they can go through a 5-week or a 15-week training program. Once they graduate, they automatically are hired with one of the companies here in Newton County, making $16 to $28 an hour, and then working with our housing authority to actually find them affordable housing where we can get them reacclimated back into the community so that they can begin to feel good about themselves. I'm also about to now pull in Viewpoint Health because I understand that some of those that are unsheltered, they do have some mental health challenges or they may have some substance abuse challenges. And so we want to address those concerns as well so that once
Right.
they become successful, they don't revert back. We keep them on that track because we've addressed those root causes that got them to where they are. So
Right.
those are two of my babies as well.
Oh wow. Well,
It
he
ain't
did
like
say he
you
had a
ain't
lot
got
of
enough.
kids. I was like, yeah, yeah. He did say he had a lot. And
I
and I
do.
know we have to wrap up, but
Yeah.
how did redistricting affect your
Mm.
your district? Because perfect example, like here in Gwinnett, some people who just voted for a county commissioner in 2020, due to redistricting, now they have to vote for another county commissioner in 22, whereas the ones who did not vote in 2020, they don't get another chance to vote until 20. So it's been 6 years now. It's going to be 6 years for them to have to vote. So, was your district changed? Is anybody, or any areas no longer in your district? Do you have new areas? Just to let people know.
Yes, we did have a change, but the beautiful thing is that I do my best to maintain a very positive relationship with our state delegation that delegates over Newton County. So I work with our Georgia senator. I work with our Georgia House of Representatives. I try to maintain a great relationship with them and have continual conversations with them on consistent conversations to kind of let them know what's going on in Newton County. So when it came to redistricting, because I had already established a great relationship with them, uh, they really, I believe, they did us justice. They did us great. I didn't realize this, but when I put our previous map next to our new map, it looked like our previous map was basically gerrymandered. Well, I had no idea because being a first time elected official, I'm thinking that this is the way that it's supposed to be. This is the way it's supposed to look. But when you look at our new map, it looks together. All the districts looks like they're in clustered. Nobody was drawn out of their district. Every
Okay.
commissioner still sitting in their current district. I did lose some of my district, but I was on one side of my district. I lost some, but then there were others added to the other side of my district. So the beautiful thing is the majority of my district still remained. There are some new individuals that now I've got to go back out, meet, introduce myself. I have the smallest district geographically wise, but I have the largest population. In my district, we have 22,752 residents, whereas in other districts, they may have 22.5 or 22.4, and I have 22.7. I also have the highest Hispanic population, which is 9% in my district as well. And so I'm strategically working now, having those discussions on how do I reach the Hispanic population, because I have the largest in the entire county.
Is there a
Wow.
website someone can go to see if if their district changed, and make sure that you're still a commissioner, or get excited if you are a new commissioner?
Yes, they can always go to the Newton County Board of Commissioners website. So if they go to our website at Newton County Board of Commissioners website, they should see the map there. I believe we placed the new map on the website. They can also contact the Newton County Board of Elections. The Board of Elections will have that new map as well. So those two places, they should be able to find it.
All right.
All
I
right,
think that's
man.
it. I think, we
This was a good one. You're right. We could have talked about this all day, but we won't. We won't keep you with this Sunday. It's supposed to be family time for all of us, but this was a really good one. Thank you so much.
Campaign day for me, so I'm going to hit
Okay,
doors
well, listen.
as soon as I
Hopefully,
get
we
off.
give you some justice. The show is streamed on
Mhm.
Radio 1, Facebook twice, LinkedIn once, YouTube, Twitter, and Roku. So hopefully it did you some justice. So thank you again for
I
taking
hope
the
so,
time
too.
out to spend some time with us and share your vision and your passions and your purpose and your missions and all of the great things that you're doing in Newton County. They are definitely lucky to have you as their commissioner in District 2. Thank you so much.
Yes.
All right, listen, y'all. This is it. I know we could stay, but we won't. We'll be back again next Sunday, same bat place, same bat time, with another great guest telling you how they're working it out in your community. So thank you again, Commissioner Mesa, for joining us. Derek J. Wilson, thank you for co-hosting with me. Listen, y'all stay safe out there. Corona's still floating around. I ain't trying to scare nobody. I'm just saying, stay safe. And until next time, my friends, until next time, make it a great day. Bye, y'all.
You've been listening to Popcorn in Politics. What's the Real Deal? Hosted by Audrey Bell Kearney and Derek J. Wilson. Be sure to subscribe to the show and share it with your family and friends. To support the show, visit us on the web at www.popcorninpolitics.com. Connect with us on Facebook at Progressive Popcorn and on Instagram at Popcorn Politics Podcast.